Dunk.
How we doing, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? Info here with another memes build video. So, sorry I've not been churning out much content lately. It's summertime. So yeah, I've been out and about, and obviously broken hand does not help. But this is my take on a Crackleshot Proc build. Now, I love Senpai's, project with this weapon, his brainchild, whatever you want to call it. But most people, would opt for strafe, and on stream people have asked me, is it better, than what I'm proposing? And I don't think there's really a better or worse. For me, it's more of a question, is the item in the right place? Now, again, this isn't a video where I'm shitting on Senpai's idea and going, far from it. I love themes, as we know, and this item is sort of kind of memey a bit. It's putting something out there that can, combine a few things, do things a bit differently. So this is my take on it. So we'll launch into skills first and foremost. So Magic Arrow, as far as I'm aware, because I'm not brilliant with Magic Arrow, but all 5 of those Magic Arrows will proc, which to me is more controlled than, strafe, standing in one place and maybe not being able to direct your shots as well to make the procs count. So I'm like, okay, we can put the cursor close to the body and fire him, in a, wider cone, should we say, or just, try and shotgun bosses and things. Now, to me, that seems to work pretty damn well. So I went with Magic Arrow. So with Magic Arrow, there's a lot of synergies. So as you can see, it's inner sight, slow movement, and guided. Now, I haven't even got guided because the skill points are very tight in this one. But I went with max Magic Arrow, and after shuffling back and forward a bit, I still went with max inner sight and slow movement. Not only because they're both very useful. On a boss, I will cast inner sight and slow movement. Especially Bale with his jumping around. But anyway. Excuse me. So, again, they add to the Magic Arrow damage. I mean, you could argue it's Magic Arrow Dean with extra steps. And I'm like, yeah, but I really want to make Crackleshot work. In order to do so, yes, you could just put 20 points in Magic Arrow, but divide the rest between there and there after the synergies. But the synergy proc is so low that you kind of need the Magic Arrow to actually do the damage, which is why I went with max inner sight, max slow movement, not guided arrow because it's pants. But anyway, I've got a few too many in critical strike. There's not really a need for it. I mean, again, it's Magic Arrow, the net essence of it is converting physical damage to magic damage, which is why, I've gone with having these. I could shave points out, put them back in these. I've tried to make up the passive tree having a bit extra by having a couple of passive skillers. But yeah, it's very tight, as I said, skill point wise. Valk I get for free from my gear, from Crackleshot and Valkyrie Wing. So it's only level 14, so she doesn't have a huge amount of life, and she will get ganked. So you have to keep recasting her. So if you're the kind of person who hates recasting, just shave a few points out of places and put it into Valk. And again, Decoy and Valk are worth it. They really are. But again, I wanted more points into the Magic Arrow side of things. And also the synergies. Now, let's talk about that for Crackleshot. Now, the Lightning Fury synergy is naff. It's pants, whatever you want to call it. That is roughly what we're looking at. That Lightning Fury is coming out at about 500 and something damage, as it says. So, and as we know, 2% doesn't really tickle that often. So it is a nice sort of extra boost of damage as a screen clearer, but I wouldn't rely on it as sort of, oh, this is helping me kill my magic immunes. That's what Lightning Bolt's for. Now, this isn't accurate because there's only 1 point in it. But in reality, when you max Power Strike and you max Lightning Fury, a level 25 Lightning Bolt, which is what procs, can do up to 7,000 damage depending on how your charm situation is. Now that's actually pretty impressive. Again, the problem with that, now that we're done with skills and we'll go to gear, the problem with that is with Crackleshot, it's still only a 15% chance for that level 25 Lightning Bolt. So that's not a lot of procking. It's really not. So you can't really rely on it. I mean, at the speed I'm churning out shots with Magic Arrow, I kind of can rely on it. But again, I rely on him mostly. We're Magic and Lightning, and I'm Magic Lightning. So I went with that, and obviously she's physical Lightning. So there's fairly similar themes running here, and between us, we can get all the damage, we say. So yeah, Crackleshot, obviously. I went with minimum damage and max damage jewels with increased attack speed on them because, again, it's physical. Converting physical damage to magic. The big lightning damage on the bow itself is helpful. 600 is nothing to be sniffed at. So you get critical strike from the bow, pluses. In fact, now that I mention it, I'm a dingleberry. I say I put too much in there. I'm getting 3 critical strike. It's only got 1 in it again since I respec. I've not looked at this in a while, and I say I've just got back from Oslo from a wild weekend of drinking, and I don't drink much anymore, so I'm like, Anyway, that's my excuses out the window. I love this bow. It's fantastic. As I said, I do feel like maybe the numbers need a bit of a tweak. Again, I'm not going to shit on Senpai's creation here. I think it's fantastic, but if it was me, I would... If he doesn't want the damage to be so high. If he wants it to be high and keeps the less procs, obviously that's absolutely fine. It's his game. But if it was me, and he doesn't want it to do crazy damage, then just up the percentage chances on both of them, but lower the level of the skill proc. So either make that 12% chance for 20 Lightning Fury, so still a low proc chance in my opinion. Anything that's 10 to 15 is still a low proc chance in my opinion. But then only a 20 Lightning Fury is still very minimum damage. I think it's only about 300 and something damage, even with the synergies. 398 or something. I don't remember. So that's not terrible. It just means it will proc more screen clearance, more ticking away at enemies. And that 15 for 25 Lightning Bolt, I would like to see that be like 22 to 25. And then maybe bring that down to 23 Lightning Bolt. So it'll be like 5,000 odd damage. Or more, but procking way more often. Now that might be too much for what Senpai wants the item to be, but if you really can get away with making a hybrid proc build with that, that would be where I would go. Something around those numbers. Again, I'd love to be able to play with it and tweak the item itself with the percentages and just make it as best as it can be. But anyway, that's my Crackleshot, 4 sockets, like I said, min-max IS jewels in. Next thing is Valkwing. I think I bought that for a Vex rune or something. I don't remember. Or it might have been one I slammed myself. Doesn't matter. The point is, 3 sockets, you kind of need them because... well, I need them because of the failure down here. E-box for 1. So it's all res increased attack speed jewel in there to help with the breakpoints. But yeah, so I like Heavenly Guard because I get right up and close. And the level 6 Sanctuary Aura helps out with my Magic Arrow, of course. It's lovely. But yeah, it's a great armor. I've upped it to an Archon plate because I had to have the strength to put on Valkwing. So why not have that extra tickle of defense? Instead of monsters hitting me practically automatically, they now have a bit of a struggle to hit me, I think. Well, I say a struggle, not really. But more than it was before. But anyway, needed the strength for this. And we needed the res. So we put on 2 runes for 30 all res, and then the last jewel is replenish life 4, 3 to life after each kill. I know it seems a bit of a weird choice. I could have put a lightning facet in there, but I was struggling with sustain. So that tiny tickle of life after each kill and replenish life, is fine by me. I remember being on stream and doing it, and I was like, screw it. The 40% enhanced damage is minimum roll, but that's... Again, it would have been useful to be 60, but it's not a big deal. The Amazon skills is fantastic because that covers all bases. Obviously, it doesn't add anything to the synergies of the procs, but, it's just nice for passive and bow and crossbow. The reason I even decided to start doing this build was because of this amulet. I randomly was gambling amulets on my my assassin at the start of the season to get her trap amulets, and then I gambled this and was like, the strength will be really useful to put on a Valkwing. And so I slammed it and got Canopy Frozen and thought, done. That's me done. Happy days. I will do Lucion, which the video is on my YouTube channel of me fudging that big time. But we got there in the end. But then sadly desecrated for 10% faster cast rate, which was very disappointing. I'd have loved to skill or max reses, things like that. But again, Can't always win. Still made the build, even though the amulet's a bit pants. Aether Wing is fantastic, because again, massive attack rating. We all know I'm a big attack rating whore. Huge increased attack speed. The static field when struck, I don't tend to notice, because obviously I have a lightning Act 3 Mercenary, so he's static everything for me anyway. But again, very useful if I didn't have the Act 3 Mercenary. Big lightning damage, again, that 775 gets added to the 600 on the bow. So even if you're not proccing, you're still hitting magic immunes and going, well, it's doing some lightning damage. Yeah. The minus enemy lightning resistance is obviously very useful for when you do proc the Crackleshot extras, which is good. Slam for life leech, again, doesn't really help me all that much. Magic arrow doesn't leech very well. You want stain, you want life and mana after each kill, really. And as I say, a smattering of res because it has a diamond in it. I was too poor to put an unrune in. I have millions of other runes, but only like one unrune left, I think. Wild. Yeah, War Traveller. So I slammed some for all res, and I needed all res. As I said, they're only 30 magic fine, but you get that added damage, which helps the magic arrow conversion. Strength and vitality are all good things, of course. Strength to help put is on. So my rings are cold poison and fire lightning res. So you get a bit of res from each one. 28, 35, and 31, 20. Lovely. Mana after each kill, poison length reduction. But then more importantly, the top stats. So we get max damage and AR and min-max. And again, the life leech, I really wish it worked better, but not with magic arrow. But anyway, so, well, not with my low damage magic arrow. Let's get it right. But yeah, these are really good rings to help out with, again, the damage, the physical to conversion. They're great. They're great rings. Arachnid mesh for the +1 to all skills, so I could get, again, a more balanced, you know, because the skill points are so tight. I, you know, needed skill points in passive and bow and crossbow. So I was like, that works for me. And slows target is pretty useful too. You know, it's, you know, it's 20%, which is pretty decent. And I'm not even using it, you know, the belt for the slows target, but it's just a lovely addition. And I like to put Venom on for fun, even though it's not really doing poison damage. It's just like when you're, you know, buffing for no reason, being a dingleberry. Right, so bow and crossbow skills gloves, 220s. I didn't search for 320s or anything I could have done. Again, I just pick up rares along the way while I'm playing the game, and I got these, and I was like, ooh. The block rate is obviously a shame, because it's useful, but not to bow and crossbow. To javelins, people that use a shield, maybe, but not to me. A bit of AR, dex for damage, and they slam for 30 life. So I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to use them. It's fine. I had another pair that I bricked, sadly. So I was like, well, these are the backups. Still good enough. Right, so that's the gear. Let's go on to the charms. So, like I said, I have one passive and magic skiller with life, and one with nothing, sadly. I'm a bit broke for the, you know, inventory department. Bow and crossbow with life, and again, plain bow and crossbow. So, not a lot there. Every good skill I had in this department I gave to my Amazon friends at the start of the season, and I was like, oh, I'll make an Amazon, and then I never keep anything for myself because I'm an idiot. So yeah, we got a few bow and crossbow skillers since then. Like these ones I picked up from leveling this character. I was like, that's okay. So we've got, you know, to bump up the magic arrow. Good enough. This Annie I bought dead cheap because I bought it near the end of the season. I've got to start buying Annies at the start of the season for ridiculous money. Some 20 lifers to help out. Cold res and poison res. Fire res, you know, there's a bit going on there because we're still missing reses to help me get to the point. Amazon torch. I think I found this one. Could be wrong. So magic skill damage 20 life, magic skill damage 20 life. Again, these are all self-found. Faster run walk to hit a breakpoint. I would like to get more lightning charms in there, but these ones are really good ones. So I've got fast hit recovery for a breakpoint, life, and big life. That one's a fantastic one, right? So they add a reasonable amount of damage to have the lightning skill damage. I mean, ideally, I'd like the whole inventory full of it, but I'd need better gear. So, yeah. And on Switch, of course, as usual, I keep forgetting, we've got Spell Steal, so I can cast amplified damage on bosses and teleport around a bit. Even with the horrendous teleport frames on an Amazon, it's not bad with the 50 cast rate on the axe, 10 on the belt, and and obviously my corruption of 10, woohoo. So that can segue me into breakpoints and stats. So yeah, I have 70 cast rate, so I hit the 68 breakpoint when I'm trying to get around, reposition the merc, things like that. So that's not too bad. But then for shooting things, so we're at the 7 frame breakpoint. You know, I'm a bit over on the increased attack speed, but there was no way. Basically, if you take that 15 jewel off that I've got in the armor, the 15 increased attack speed all res, I could just put an in the armor. But I was like, well, it's in there now. I might as well leave it. It looks cool. But that was obviously 140, and I needed 2 more. So I could just use, technically, a large charm. But again, it was like, it was already in there. I put it in there before I spec'd up these 2, so I was like, yeah, whatever. But anyway, 7 frames is incredibly fast. So it just means the faster you're getting the hits out, more procs. Fantastic. Fast hit recovery, smack bang on the 52 breakpoint. And again, that's largely due to, you know, sorry, not evade, dodge. Very useful for an Amazon. Dodge and evade, you know, they help make up breakpoints for walk run speed and dodge. Speaking of which, walk run 66. So, you know, in increments of 5, so I'm at the 65 breakpoint essentially, although when you're past sort of 50, 55, it's hard to notice the speed. Although 70, I think you still notice is pretty damn zippy. So yeah, it's not a terrible, not terrible movement speed breakpoint. It's pretty good. Yeah, as I said, we got all the reses, pretty good. If I get hit with conviction, I'm still reasonably lightning-y, because I do like to stand up close with this build, up close and personal. So we've got 12% elemental mastery and 24% pierce. Again, they're not useful against, you know, I'm not breaking lightning immunities here. You know, not often anyway. I mean, obviously Mr. Mercenary casts the old static field, but it's mostly, you know, about having, like I said, 2 damages. Magic arrow against everything, and then when the magic immunes kick in, and obviously this breaks most magic immunities, but then they're still dying slowly because, you know, there's no elemental pierce there for magic in my build, so or even in the game. But anyway, yeah, so that's when the lightning helps out him and me. Right, we've not got long in this game, 7 minutes, so you know I better get through. So yeah, we got some critical strike, 57%. Bit of life leech, bit of mana leech. Again, I said they really struggle. Pierce is quite low, as you can see, 38%. So we've got massive mana after each kill. That really helps. Tiny bit of life after each kill from that 1 jewel. Bit sucky. But, yeah. And a tiny bit of magic find of 30, so not amazing. Yeah, sorry about that, guys and gals and non-binary pals. Quick clip here, because while I got excited about showing these stats and breakpoints and things, I forgot these stats. Not massively important, but you probably want to see. So enough strength for gear, which is 115 to put on Valk Wing. 300 in vitality, because I don't have a lot of gear and charms and, like I said, and things giving me lots of life. So I ended up with, you know, 1,342, which isn't a huge amount. I like to be at least 1,500 in hardcore on a ranged character, just in case they get ganked by, like, 3 big hits. You know, that's like 369. You know, and then by then, if you've only got 1,000 life, you've got 100 left, you might get ganked by a ranged attack, and then you're dead. So, again, it's not often that sort of thing happens, but, you know, I like to be prepared. But anyway, magic arrow damage, nearly 7,000, which at the rate we shoot at 7 frames, that's like 7, 14, 21, and then, yeah, you mow them down. Huge AR, over 10k, because, again, I'm an AR whore, as we know. I would love more, but it can't fit in to the build. But again, every subsequent point, I'm only level 88, so every subsequent stat point now is going into dex. So by the time I'm in the late 90s, if I was going to push this character, I would have the 1,500, you know, life points that I desire. Plus, you know, my AR will probably be 12k. No, well, a bit of exaggeration, but still. And again, max reses, and we've got that extra lightning from here, from Aether Wing. It rolled the max of 6. That's good. Yeah. Again, mana pool is a bit low, but we have loads of mana per kill, so it's not really a problem. And yeah, sorry about forgetting. I'll tack that into the middle of the video and pretend like it never happened. Right, so on to the Mercenary. Ooh. Well, we'll look at his stats first because we're doing stats. So he's got crazy resistances. He's good. His elemental mastery is 941. What? Pierce is 38. He's he's in a bad position for cast rate breakpoints, but that's because his gear is a bit slap chop as well, and his faster hit recovery is dog poop. So yeah, that's why I teleport with spell steal to bring him out of danger if I need to. But stuff gets wiped out pretty quick. You know, it's okay. So yeah, the reason I'm going with a lightning build is because I slammed this Skyfall for lightning skill damage and cast rate. I actually, at the time of filming this, I've forgotten to put a facet in there. I do have a facet for it, and I've forgotten. Imbecile. Griffins, I found it myself and slammed it myself, got max lightning res, so I was a bit like, oh, that's not worth much of anything anymore. So I just put a socket in it with a laser hammer and slapped a, I think it was a 4-5. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a 4-5 lightning facet. So, you know, nice enough. Not brilliant, but nice enough. Herald of Zakarum, just for the jewel in there is a fast hit recovery to hit the breakpoint. Can't remember what the other part of it is, but again, the blocking is useless because Act 3 mercenaries don't have a block animation, they don't block. I put that on there for the 2 tool skills and the resistances. Like I said, the strength, yes, it helped me get this bad boy on, but you know, vitality's sadly useless for that as well. It's not a brilliant shield to put on an Act 3 mercenary, in fairness. You could craft something or, you know, get better, but 2 tool skills does apply, of course, so that's why it's an easy patch to get more skills on this character. These boots are just half freeze duration boots with crazy faster run walk, so he can get out of danger if I, you know, don't teleport him. But half freeze duration plus half freeze duration caster gloves, so 10 fast cast rate, 30 life slam, good res. Mana after each kill doesn't do anything for him, of course. He's got an arachnid mesh as well, just for the plus skills. And then lastly, he's got a guardian angel for, again, +2 to all skills. Having those reses is quite useful. But yeah, that's his gear. Basically, lots of plus skills gear. And obviously, with the new Skyfall, he gets that free Thunderstorm. And because Act 3 mercenaries have built-in lightning mastery, it does end up being a fair tickle of damage, you know, for free. You know, everyone in the comments and things on Discord and all that, when this item was announced for Season 13, everyone was like, oh, it's a bit rubbish, isn't it? I'm like, it's free damage. How can you be upset about free damage? You know, you don't have to do anything with it. You know, slap it on a mercenary, it's free damage. Calm down. You know, I mean, the item itself is still pretty damn good. You know, 3 to lightning skills for a lightning character, that's good. It does apply to him, I believe. Yeah, I wouldn't be using it if it didn't. Anyway, well, map choices. I haven't actually prepared a map for this, guys. I do apologise. But yeah, obviously you want to go on a map that doesn't have lightning immunes, doesn't have magic immunes, and doesn't have a lot of anything. I would say a quick talk about procs. Now, obviously, a 30% chance to cast Bone Spear on striking. We're going to take that with us, because it gives us a good idea about what that higher proc rate looks like versus a lower proc rate. And I've only got 2 minutes, so I'm going to change games, so bear with me. Right, and we're back in business. So I'll just quickly grab, like, a white map. I know it's silly. But yeah, so Phlegathon is good for tier 1. There's no lightning or magic in there, so we'll just quickly boot it up and I can show you just how fast we attack with this. And obviously the comparison of percentages, as I said, from procking. So on Switch, we make sure we've got Amp and Blink, so we can just, like I said, teleport. It's not incredibly slow. It's still slow, but for an Amazon, that's pretty damn fast, right? So yeah, we've got Valk hotkeyed, because like I said, she goes down fairly hard a lot of the time, so I can quickly just, bam, stick her out there. And then I've got Inner Sight on F1, so I can just, you know, if we need to. It's not often, but look how fast this is. Crazy, right? It's pretty good. So, again, if you want a wide fan spread, I stand there and do it. He's near me for lightning stuff. Again, if it procs, great. If not, whatever. I'll show you what I mean. Right, so that was, you know, no procs so far still, as you can see. Oh yeah, I've got slow movement on right click usually. So if stuff's come hooning at us and it looks scary and it looks like the Valk's going to get ganked, I will just bam like that. See? They are slow to a crawl. There you go. We got some... I think we got a proc then. It was hard to see. There you go. There's proc. And as you can see, when it hits, it's quite devastating. It does the job. It's just, as I said, I don't feel like it's very often. Let's hit that. There you go. There's some stuff. As you can see, you've got Thunderstorm coming down. If I teleport in, the Mercenary might be a bit sort of more inclined. There we go. There's some static field going on. Actually, that wasn't static field. That was his holy shock built-in hitting. So yeah, there's a lot of lightning type stuff going on. It can get quite confusing. But as you can see, that lightning bolt came out and one-tapped him. There you go. That was a good example, at least. So it does happen. But as I said, it's not often enough for my liking. So yeah, if we just pop that on quickly to run a comparison, look at the bone spear amount. The bam, 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 you know, and that's... Again, I feel like that's possibly too much. Like 30% for 25. Because obviously if the lightning bolt stays at 25, you can see how much that's proccing. Like, a lot, right? So, bam. And it just mows them down. I mean, again, I've done builds proccing this before. With different characters, but it is nutty. So again, if he wanted the he being the King Senpai, sorry, if he wanted the 25 lightning bolt to stay at 25, then 15 is okay, but it's definitely not going to qualify as a proc build. You know, it just could, you know, there's no point in putting the synergies in, really. I mean, again, yes, there is a point. That's why I made this damn video. What am I talking about? Shut up, Dean. But anyway, it's fun. It's fast. As long as you get the 4 sockets, of course, and a little bit of help from our friends. Yeah. But yeah, so that's 30. We make that 20. Sorry, make that 20 something. Then it's still. See, there you go. It's not proccing all the time. There you go. And then it procs a lot, sort of thing. It's very, you know, it's inconsistent. Ooh, fanaticism. Here we go. But yeah, as you can see, that's Proc City. That's mowing everything down. Go back again. Give me some Densatar. There we go. There was some light in that. Just, there you go. Solid. Mowed it down. Right, but you get the picture, chat. This video's gone on too long. So yeah. Try it. Is all I'm going to say. You know, so look at that. I've got bone armor on. Which would have been fun if I kept that like that, because bone armor with struck is pretty cool. It would be a good defensive measure. But again, everyone's made plenty of bone proc builds. It's not what we're here for. You know, Heavenly Guard for the magic arrow. So he can't do anything to him. That's where I come in. Anyway. Try it with Strafe. Don't try it with Multi. Multi's not going to do you any favours. But try it with Strafe. But try it with magic arrow. Let me know what you think. As I said, the gear's not optimized. You might make it better. You know. It is what it is. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Thanks for watching. Take care. By the way, that small charm that dropped in the map at the end of the video showing the example gameplay, that. Why at the end of the season, game? Why not at the start of the season where I could sell that for a fortune? Well, not a fortune, but it's still a damn good charm, right? So, yeah. Thanks, Phlegaphon.